Good afternoon, everyone. Kevin Glutz here with the RDIEC, a program facilitator in Sunwest School Division, and I'm pleased to be here today with Kimiko Otterspoor, a graphic designer at Athletes Customs in Rosetown, Sask. So, really fortunate to have Kimiko here today. As a graphic designer in a small town, we don't often find graphic designers in small town Saskatchewan, so we're really fortunate to have her here with us and to talk about her job as a graphic designer. So, I'll turn it over to you, Kimiko.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, well, Kevin did a great introduction, so I'll just go to the next slide here somehow. There we go. So I just put some examples of some logo work that I've done for different organizations. I use a program called Adobe, mostly Adobe Illustrator, but they have a whole creative suite of different things like Photoshop for image editing and InDesign for layout designs. It's a really wonderful program. It is costly though. It's a monthly subscription that you have to continually update your programs and pay into that subscription. So you have to make sure that you're bringing in the money that makes it worth it. So this is some examples of work that I've done through Athletes Customs. We do a lot of team orders and different high school clothing. And we just recently did up the Can-Am Bull logo, so that was pretty exciting for us. So my job description, I am a graphic designer, but that's not the only thing that I do for athletes. So I establish new customers and I nurture relationships with our current customers. I identify their needs in order to facilitate their orders, whether it's logos, clothing, promotional items, teamwear, lots of different things that we provide. And then I will create, obviously, the artwork and a lot of the time mock-ups for those orders. And then I create and print files on our BN20 vinyl printer cutter. And then I will press items onto clothing using our Hotronics heat press and our hat press. We also provide embroidery as well, which I'll show you in a photo later of our Baradin embroidery machine. And then I pack orders and invoice orders. So skills for a graphic designer, definitely communication. So being able to interpret what clients are asking you for and make that come to life in your art. And also just making sure that they know what's going on with their order and all those kinds of things. So communication is very important. Typography and font selection. So a knowledge of typography is very important. Different fonts portray different feelings. And some are obviously more legible than others. So making sure that you can choose the right font for the project is imperative. Ability to follow brand guidelines. So a lot of the time, if you're working with larger companies, they have very specific guidelines for using their logos, what colors to use, what kind of spacing to provide for that logo, lots of different things that you need to make sure are correct in what you create for them. Proficiency in industry tools is just making sure that you know how to use your program. So we use the Adobe Creative Suite, but there are a lot of different design applications out there. Another good one is Corel Draw. Time management, making sure that you can get orders out on time can sometimes be hard if you have a lot going on, which we always do. So just making sure that you can do that. And adaptability. Things change every day, day to day, hour to hour sometimes. So you just have to make sure that you can run with that. Traits of someone who could be a good graphic designer, I think the ability to take criticism. A lot of the time, your client might just not be on the same page as you are with what you created for them. So you got to be able to take that criticism and make it right for them. Attention to detail, whether that's in the file that you create or the project itself. And passion. You have to enjoy what you're doing and love it, or else it's just not going to work for you. So this is a photo of me at my desk and my friend Crystal, who does all of the embroidery for us. You can see in the photo that she's using our Baradin embroidery machine to do a hat. I meant to get a picture of Jenna, but it didn't work out. We did have a really nice one of her on the heat press. So there are 3 of us, not just 2 of us, that make the magic happen. So the photo in the top left is our Hotronix heat press. And then I also included a photo of our hat press. And then the bottom photo is a photo of our vinyl printer cutter. So you can see that there's the ink in the side in the CMYK color space. And yeah, it just prints and cuts vinyl on large rolls. And then we weed them and press them onto clothing. So rewards, helping customers create and showcase their brand is so fun. And I just think that advertising is so important. And we work with just a lot of authentic brands who are really just telling their truth and helping their community, whether it's minor sports or I can't think of examples right now. The Prosperity Credit Union, Impact, like we work with tons of companies in Rosetown. So those are the ones that speak closely to my heart because they're part of our community and they help make sure that we can employ our people. And yeah, that wasn't a great explanation, but that's what you get. I love creating teamwear for minor sports because I just think it's so fun to see the kids' faces when they receive their items and they're just so proud to be part of their team. Developing professional skills. So I've been able to work a little bit in sales, a little bit in graphic design, production. So just the variety of skills that I've been able to develop throughout my career have been wonderful. Specifically to athletes, flexibility in my schedule is really important. I have 2 young boys at home. So just being able to make sure the work gets done, regardless of where I need to be when, is really important to me. And I love working in a fast-paced and busy work environment. There's always something going on, something new every day, and it just keeps me very engaged. Challenges. Sometimes it's so hard to translate what your client is asking you for. So it can be tough just making sure that you get to that correct end result for them. Sometimes I do work overtime, whether it's from home or at the store, just because we can be very busy. You do have to be very accurate and make sure that the right thing goes on the right piece of clothing, that the logo's printed properly, all of those little things. And it can be tedious sometimes, especially if you're recreating a logo. It takes time to, draw every little single piece and make sure that it looks exactly like the original did. So I just Googled the salary and range of a graphic designer. I will say that I do fit into that range. Um, I enjoy the benefit of full benefits and holidays, and typically Monday to Friday, again, with overtime when needed. But a freelance designer would differ from this because you would be your own employer. Educational requirements. So most jobs want a high school diploma or GED, and then many will want a post-secondary degree in graphic design or related relevant experience with a strong portfolio of illustrations and other graphics. So this is my journey. I started in college for a co-op placement. I actually came from Ontario, so I did attend school in Ontario, and I worked for a company called Direct Response Media Group. And they basically just print advertising magazines. So that was really great to develop my skills. I found that while my classes in college taught me how to use the programs, they didn't really teach me how to make something look good and translate that into the final product. So I definitely found that this co-op placement helped me learn and create something that I that is pleasing to the eye. And that co-op placement turned into full-time work for quite some time. Um, it was a great job. I loved it, but the commute was very long. It was about an hour in the morning and about 20 minutes after work when I went home late at night. So I was grateful when my husband and well, my boyfriend at the time, I guess, decided to go on an adventure and move to Saskatchewan. So I came out here with no job, and I started at Central Plains Co-op Agro Team. And that's where I met Jenna, who owns Athletes Haven. And so I worked for her for quite some time at the agro team doing reception work and different things like that. And then when Mainline Chrysler opened, I moved over to them to help them, market their new store and create their website and things like that. Um, and once they got established, I think I worked there for about 3 years. Once they were established, I moved back over to Central Plains Co-op to assist them with their marketing and member relations. And then when we decided to open Athletes Customs, I moved over to be part of the athletes team. So that's my story. So opportunities for a graphic designer. Freelance would probably be the most lucrative way to get into graphic design, but it comes with the challenges of self-employment. So you really have to know how to market yourself and how to, just the grind of sales and selling yourself. So yeah, it comes with obviously positives and negatives, but many companies are looking for graphic designers. So if that's where you want to go, then that's also a wonderful option. I'm really happy with the job that I have, and I'm not looking to further advance my career. So yeah. Um, Life worth balance is, in my opinion, up to the individual to decide. So some people are very career driven, and that's okay. And some people choose to, have a family and spend a little bit more time in that balance cycle. So for me, I'm really happy with my life and where it is. I get to be passionate about my job, and still make time for my family, two young boys, and my husband. Um, as well as my position as town councillor in Rosetown and my other volunteering and extracurricular activities. So for me, having a job where I could be flexible, and be able to raise a family was really important. So that's where I'm at with my life work balance. And I do think that if that's something that's important for you, then graphic design is a great career path to try. um, you just have to make sure that you make the choice to have balance in your life and your work. Okay, that was really hard to talk to myself for that long, but that's what you get.
Yeah, it probably is hard. It looks good on this end. It looks easy for you, but
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad.
you're just talking about yourself, and it must be difficult. But anyways, that was excellent. I got a couple questions though, and I found I admire you and your now husband to the adventure coming out west. There's not a lot of times we hear about the people from the east moving west. So, what prompted? Like, you just decided that it was one day. It was like let's take a trek out there.
Well, my husband is a auto mechanic by trade,
Okay.
and he had been out of school for I think 2 years at this point. And it's very different in Ontario in the sense that housing is so much more expensive, even if you're planning to rent. And so we were just looking for opportunities where we could afford to start to build a life together. And so when Alan looked at jobs out here, it was, I think, like the raise was significant, maybe something like 30%. So we thought, well, let's move out to Saskatchewan for a few years and just try it out and make some money and then move back home. And now I think we're 11 years later and we love Rosetown. So we don't plan to leave anytime soon.
And you become a town councillor. So yeah, it looks like you're somewhat committed to the town. That's awesome. Well,
I
yeah,
honestly like Rosetown is a wonderful community. I remember when I first came, like they brought us out, both of us, for an interview for Alan. And I just remember walking down Main Street and seeing like they used to stencil roses onto the sidewalk.
yeah, right, right. I
And I
remember.
just thought, my goodness, like that's just such an amazing thing to do for the community. Like they're so proud of their symbolism here. So that
Yeah.
was one of the things that I just thought, you know what, let's just try it.
Yeah. Well, and I think the students, mostly Saskatchewan students, will be watching this YouTube channel where this video will appear, and it, just to, sometimes we hear young people, well, we got to get out of here, we got to leave small town Saskatchewan, but I think you're, an example of no, it's got lots to offer, and like lots of small towns and lots of communities in Saskatchewan and Alberta and Manitoba probably do. So that's good message. I was in one thing you mentioned too that I kind of thought was interesting. Like when you do a design for someone, you're kind of hoping it hits the mark, right? And we never think about that. I've gotten some clothing from Athletes Customs that Kimiko has designed. I don't know if people can see that in this shirt.
Aw.
The Prairie View Park campground, and that was her design. And it was just, like I ordered two shirts, and that's great that you can go into a business and get two shirts. Like I think lots of times in other types of business, you'd have to order a bulk quantity before they'd even do it. But and I accepted the design as it was. I thought it was a great design, but I forget about that. What if that design wasn't? And then all of a sudden you're back to the drawing board, and you don't charge for each drawing. You probably do. It's just like, I hope this works.
Yeah, so like as a traditional designer, if you were like say freelance, you would likely charge for artwork by the hour.
Okay.
Um, but just with our industry, we just provide that for most of our, like if somebody's opening a team store with us, then we just provide the artwork services bundled in with that, because we make that on the order, right?
But yeah, I mean, I think then it goes back to that thing, communication with the customer. So trying to get that feel for what they want. So you're not doing 10 versions of that, or
Yeah, it almost makes it more important to get it right the first time, right?
yeah, otherwise, yeah, that's right. I could see that could be a long drawn out process and frustrating process if it's for you, if
Yeah.
it's not working. So no, that's awesome. I think that is a great session. I think for anybody looking at graphic design, it's your industry is mostly in the clothing one, but also some other doing some work for some other people in the area as well. Congratulations on your efforts there and what you guys do at Athletes Custom. So thank you so much, Kimiko.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. It was great talking to you.